You think your brain controls your mood, but there's a second nervous system in your gut that's actually calling the shots. Right now, millions of microbes in your intestines are manufacturing the same chemicals that antidepressants try to boost. And most people are starving these mood-controlling bacteria without even knowing it. Here's what's actually happening inside your digestive tract right now. Your gut contains over 100 trillion bacteria. That's more microbial cells than human cells in your entire body. But here's the kicker. Most of these bacteria are either dead or dying because the modern diet has turned your intestines into a microbial wasteland. The bacteria that survive this hostile environment are the ones producing your mood chemicals. There's a specific strain called Lactobacillus plantarum that's basically bulletproof. It can survive your stomach acid when other microbes get destroyed. Once it reaches your colon, this bacteria starts manufacturing serotonin directly in your gut tissue. But here's where it gets interesting. 90% of your body's serotonin isn't made in your brain. It's manufactured by these gut bacteria. And serotonin doesn't just control mood. Your body converts it into melatonin, which regulates your sleep cycles and acts as a powerful cellular antioxidant. Think of your gut bacteria like a pharmaceutical factory. When you feed them the right raw materials, they pump out mood-stabilizing compounds around the clock. But when you starve them with processed foods and antibiotics, production shuts down. Your brain starts sending distress signals, anxiety, depression, brain fog, because it's not getting the chemical messengers it needs from your gut. The solution isn't another antidepressant that tries to artificially boost these chemicals. It's feeding the bacteria that naturally produce them. And there's one specific type of food that can resurrect these dead bacterial colonies in just days. The food that can resurrect your gut bacteria isn't some expensive supplement or superfood powder. It's something that's been sitting in refrigerators for centuries, quietly fermenting and multiplying beneficial microbes by the billions. Fermented vegetables like sauerkraut and kimchi are basically probiotic bombs. But here's what most people don't understand. Not all fermented foods are created equal. The difference between these two comes down to microbial diversity and survival rates. Sauerkraut contains primarily Lactobacillus plantarum, that bulletproof strain we talked about. But kimchi takes it to another level because it's made with multiple vegetables: Napa cabbage, radishes, garlic, chili peppers, and ginger. More plant variety means more diverse nutrients, which feeds a broader spectrum of beneficial bacteria. It's like giving your gut microbes a buffet instead of a single meal. The fermentation process transforms these vegetables into something your gut bacteria can't get from fresh produce. When garlic ferments, it develops enhanced anti-inflammatory compounds. Fermented ginger produces stronger digestive enzymes that help break down food and reduce bloating. The chili peppers become more bioactive, boosting circulation and metabolism. But here's the critical part most people mess up. You need raw, unpasteurized versions. Those shelf-stable jars in the grocery store have been heat-treated, which kills all the beneficial bacteria. You're essentially eating dead food. The live bacteria in properly fermented vegetables can survive your stomach acid and colonize your colon, where they immediately start producing those mood-regulating chemicals. Within just a few days of eating live fermented foods, people report better sleep, clearer thinking, and more stable moods. But there's one specific fermented food that outperforms all the others for gut-brain communication. That fermented food is kimchi, and it contains a unique microbe that doesn't exist in sauerkraut or any other fermented vegetable. This specific strain doesn't just survive in your gut, it actively hunts down and destroys pathogenic bacteria that cause inflammation and disrupt neurotransmitter production. Here's what makes this microbe so powerful. It produces natural antibiotics called bacteriocins. Unlike the broad-spectrum antibiotics your doctor prescribes, which carpet bomb your entire gut ecosystem, bacteriocins are precision weapons. They target harmful bacteria while leaving beneficial strains untouched. This selective killing creates space for mood-boosting bacteria to flourish. The microbe also has an unusual ability to survive in cold temperatures and acidic environments. it can actually travel through your respiratory tissues, which is why some people dilute kimchi liquid and spray it in their sinuses for infections. But when you eat kimchi regularly, this microbe establishes colonies throughout your digestive tract, creating a protective barrier against pathogens that would normally trigger inflammatory responses in your brain. Kimchi delivers over 700 milligrams of vitamin C per cup, 10 times the recommended daily amount. But more importantly, it contains fermented garlic, ginger, and chili peppers that have been chemically transformed by the fermentation process. The garlic develops enhanced anti-cancer properties. The ginger converts into stronger anti-inflammatory molecules that improve digestion. The capsaicin in chili peppers becomes more bioactive, boosting metabolism and circulation. Korean populations have some of the lowest rates of depression and obesity globally, and researchers are starting to connect this to their daily kimchi consumption. But there's a specific way you need to eat fermented foods to maximize their gut-brain benefits, and most people are doing it completely wrong. The biggest mistake people make with fermented foods is treating them like a side dish instead of medicine. You're probably eating a tiny forkful with dinner and wondering why you don't feel different. But your gut bacteria don't respond to homeopathic doses. They need consistent, concentrated populations of live microbes to establish permanent colonies. Here's the protocol that actually works. You need to consume fermented foods on an empty stomach, first thing in the morning. When your stomach acid is at its lowest concentration, more beneficial bacteria survive the journey to your colon. Start with 2 tablespoons of raw sauerkraut or kimchi 20 minutes before breakfast, every single day for at least 2 weeks. Most people quit after 3 days because they experience what researchers call microbial die-off. As beneficial bacteria colonize your gut, they start killing pathogenic microbes that have been living there for years. These dying bacteria release toxins that can temporarily make you feel worse: headaches, fatigue, even mood swings. This isn't a sign the fermented foods aren't working. It's proof they're working too well. The key is pushing through this detox phase. By day 7, the pathogenic bacteria are mostly eliminated, and the beneficial strains start producing noticeable amounts of neurotransmitters. People report sleeping deeper, thinking clearer, and feeling more emotionally stable. But there's one specific timing strategy that can triple the effectiveness of fermented foods. You need to eat them right before your largest meal of the day. The beneficial bacteria use the incoming food as fuel to multiply rapidly. Within hours, they're producing higher concentrations of mood-regulating chemicals. But there's a hidden danger in most commercial fermented foods that could be sabotaging your results entirely. The hidden danger isn't in the fermented foods themselves. It's in the plastic containers and metal lids that most brands use for packaging. These containers leach endocrine-disrupting chemicals directly into the fermented vegetables. And here's why that's devastating for your gut-brain connection. When beneficial bacteria are exposed to plasticizers and BPA, they stop producing neurotransmitters and start producing stress hormones instead. Your gut microbes literally become anxiety factories. The same Lactobacillus plantarum that should be manufacturing serotonin switches into survival mode and begins pumping out cortisol precursors. You're consuming what you think is medicine, but you're actually feeding your bacteria a steady diet of hormone disruptors. Glass containers aren't just better, they're essential. Fermented foods are acidic, which makes them especially aggressive at pulling chemicals out of plastic packaging. Even BPA-free containers contain alternative plasticizers that are just as harmful to gut bacteria. The acidity level that makes fermented foods so beneficial for killing pathogenic bacteria also makes them incredibly effective at extracting toxins from their containers. But here's where it gets worse. Most people store their fermented foods in the refrigerator door, where temperature fluctuations kill the beneficial bacteria daily. Every time you open your fridge, the temperature spikes, then drops again when you close it. These thermal cycles are like putting your gut bacteria through repeated freeze-thaw torture. The microbes that survive become stressed and stop producing the mood-regulating compounds you need. The solution is storing fermented foods in the main body of your refrigerator, in glass containers, away from the door. But there's an even more powerful strategy that can multiply the neurotransmitter production of any fermented food by feeding the bacteria exactly what they need to thrive. Subscribe for more gut-brain secrets, and check out why one of your most common daily habits is actually a dangerous medical emergency in disguise.